Hey, you like cars? How are y'all doing out there? You know what time it is. You know what we're here to do. The CarQuicks podcast is back for another week. Episode 109. Welcome. How are y'all feeling out there? How are you doing? How are your children, your family, your loved ones, the goals, everything? How are the prayers being answered? Are you aligned well? Are things going how they should be? How are you feeling spiritually? How are you feeling physically, mentally, financially? Hope it's going all good, honestly. I hope all of those aspects are excellent because we're here to talk about the enjoyable things, right? We're not here to talk about anything that's not fun. We're here to talk about the automotive news. But this week, we're gonna shift pace right this week. We're gonna talk a little bit about some news that I was reading about, but we're gonna talk about what I've been doing, okay? Because I've been busy, very busy. And I had the opportunity to go to another press event. I got an opportunity to spend more time with manufacturers and their automobiles and just being able to review them and continue to work this muscle of learning how I want to review cars. Now, I do like the fact that I'm in these kind of like very fast turning events where you have a long list of vehicles and it's kind of like you got to pick which one you want to talk about and kind of hit the ground running. You know, you might have like an hour with the car, 2 hours with the car, maybe less, 30 minutes. And you really got to figure out how to kind of convey this sort of preview, walkthrough, first drive, first look in some type of compelling way. So let's just talk about what I've been doing, right? This is drive right in. I was with the Texas Auto Riders for the Texas Truck Rodeo for 2025. Now, I've heard about this event because last year and the year before I was associated with the Texas Auto Riders, before I even started this journey of the CarQuicks podcast or my YouTube channel with the GR Corolla or any other car review, I had seen them before and just kind of was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to be associated or, just kind of be a part of it. So I want to kind of take a moment to acknowledge the fact that I'm proud of where I've made it. Like I have much more to go. We are definitely not done. This is a marathon in the truest form or fashion. Just like Nipsey Hussle said, the marathon, okay? This is what we're doing. And looking back to where I was and where I'm going now and how things are continuing to progress, the things I'm able to access, the people that are responding to maybe inquiries I have about vehicles or parts for the GR Corolla or just doing content for them is resonating. And it tells me that it goes by so quickly. Like we're going to be coming up on 3 years since I started this. 3 years has smoked by, okay? Like just in general, from when I started this till now, I can't believe how fast time has gone. So it's also good for anybody listening to me that wants to know about starting a channel or starting anything. Sometimes you look at this stuff and you're like, oh man, they started 5 years ago and they got like 20,000 subs. Should have done this 5 years ago and I would have already had it. Or, just whatever it may be. I don't even look at the numbers like that. But what I want to say is that the time goes by regardless. Time is going to keep moving. So either you're going to start now and then 10 years later say, look what I've done, or you're never going to start and then 10 years later say, I wish I would have done something because the time is not stopping. And that's kind of what helped me kind of get over the hump of like, should I do something? I want to start a channel. Am I good enough? Do I need to have proper camera? Do I have to have the proper scripts and all this? And just so you know, a lot of times I'm not running off of a script. I like just talking off the cuff a little bit. I'm good at formulating ideas and opinions and thoughts and kind of putting them out there very quickly. So maybe that's just one of my little skill sets I have. Not everybody can do that. Some people need to write everything down. I write some things down, but I definitely like just having a more natural conversation as if I was talking to you about cars I love in general. So besides all that, we were at the Texas Truck Rodeo event and we were driving everything. And I might want to try to find a list real quick. Let me go to my emails real quick. Because I do want to give you a list of what we were driving so you can understand like how much there was out there. We had a 2025 Acura ADX, a 2025 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat Jailbreak. We had a 2025 Ineos Grenadier Fieldmaster. We had the Grenadier Wagon Fieldmaster. We had the 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S Limited 4xe, the 2025 Kia Telluride SX Prestige X Pro, the 2025 Lexus LX 700H Overtrail, the 2025 Lexus TX 500H F Sport. I'm not going to say 2025 anymore. Okay, so from here on out, unless it's a 2026, it's all 2025. Let's go. We have the Mitsubishi Outlander Trail Edition, the Nissan Armada Pro 4X, the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X Crew Cab, the Toyota 4Runner Limited, Toyota 4Runner Trail Hunter, Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, Toyota Grand Highlander Platinum Max, Toyota Land Cruiser, Toyota Tacoma Trail Hunter, Toyota Tundra TRD Rally, Volkswagen Tiguan, 2026 Genesis GV70. Now, after all this is 2026 now, okay? Honda CRV Trail Sport, Honda Passport Trail Sport, Hyundai Ioniq 9, Hyundai Palisade Calligraphy. And that was actually that wasn't a calligraphy. The Palisade was an XRT Pro edition. Jeep Cherokee Overland 4x4, the 2026 brand new Jeep Cherokee. We didn't get to drive that one, but I did talk about it. We'll speak some more about that. Kia Sportage Hybrid SX Prestige all-wheel drive, Ram 1500 Longhorn Crew Cab, Ram 1500 RHO Crew Cab with the Hurricane Inline 6 Twin Turbo. My goodness. Ram 2500 Warlock Crew Cab. That is a monster list, okay? I'm gonna be honest here. When I saw that list, I was like, I can't drive everything, unfortunately. I would love to have driven every single thing, but there just wasn't enough time. Not for what I was trying to achieve. Now, if I want to just run around, drive everything, and then kind of talk about it as a whole, I could have, but it would have been very hard to kind of shoot footage with that type of in mind because I want to build content and put on my channel to show you the things I was driving. So you got to kind of make some choices. So here's what I chose, okay? Here's what I drove, and I can tell you a little bit about it. I drove the Acura ADX. Now, the ADX is like their compact version of a sport compact. I say sport compact, but let's say a luxury SUV that's in the compact form. And I was actually very impressed. And while I'm shooting this, if you're watching the video, like and subscribe because if you're watching the video, I'm throwing in some little bit of a B-roll of all these vehicles I'm talking about. Okay, so if you don't know, you need to check it out. And this is just me talking real quick, like 30 seconds on each one, because there is a full video on the YouTube channel for CarQuicks where I will do my whole video on each one of these vehicles. The ADX was impressive because of how the interior looked, how it felt, very much Acura luxury. Reminded me very much about the Acura Integra Type S interior. And that's probably where the ADX is based off of. Think like Integra, but think of an SUV form. Nice power. I mean, it's nothing crazy, like 190 horsepower. It is a compact, but it gives you a lot of features for luxury and Acura and the things that how it looked for a fairly decent price, around like $45,000 it was. Outside of the ADX, I also drove the Lexus TX 500H F Sport, which is the luxury version of the Grand Highlander Platinum from Toyota. So it's like the sister, the cousin. However, I wanted to see what the Lexus drove like because I wanted to see if there was actually a noticeable difference between getting the highest trim of the Toyota version compared to the Lexus. I'm here to say it's a noticeable difference. It's a noticeable difference in how it feels inside. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, you're talking about leather, soft touch material, not as much as what Toyota would have because it's a different price point, but just overall, you stepped into this and you were like, I'm in a luxury SUV. The sound system, the technology, the way the dashboard layout was, the quality of the materials, even how it drove just felt more refined. And I don't know what they did because I mean, they're sharing drivetrains, but it just refined everything to like, oh yeah, I would get the Lexus one more than the Highlander if I could, cover that price point. Also, the F Sport looks fantastic on the outside with this grayish bluish color they had, the matching bodywork, the wheels. I loved how that one looked. I also drove the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X Crew Cab truck. And I purposely went after this because I wanted to see what this was like from just a standpoint of a simple kind of mid-sized small truck that was still using the formula that we've known. Like it's a standard V6, it's no hybrid, it's no turbocharged drivetrains. Now, what that does mean is you're not getting the greatest gas mileage as some of those counterparts that offer that in there. But if you wanted something that was like, I needed to be simple, a good price point, The Frontier is very good for my drive. I mean, the V6 makes 310 horsepower. There's a 9-speed automatic. It shifts well. It has good power. It can haul things you need. And the crew cab was spacious, even in the back, because some crew cabs aren't like the super crew cabs or the more full size trucks. But this one, even with me and my height sitting in the front, I could sit in the back behind myself. It had nice leather interior, nice Fender audio system, just nice little features and trim and orange stitching and all these little features that talked about the Pro 4X version, and capable on an off-road little trail, because while we were driving them, we also had access to an off-road course to really find out if these are off-road type of vehicles. And in my video, I had plenty of time to go up little trails and just see what it felt like, use things like four low, the terrain modes, gravel mode. I mean, I had a great time out there. And so the Pro 4X was a nice surprise of something that is like a simplified truck formula, but delivered high quality from what I could feel. Now, these are all previews I was talking about. And what I was saying in my videos was that when I get them long term, and that's what we're working towards, and that's actually what's happening. We'll talk more about that later. We will get a longer time to spend on what these vehicles are like, because I really enjoy this like kind of long form, long term, have the car for a week, really grasp what it is and what it's trying to do. So I had the what I talk about. I had the Acura, I drove the Frontier, I drove the Lexus, I drove the Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat jailbreak. Oh my goodness. And I said in that little video I was doing, I was like, this is a recipe that we all know, right? It's like chocolate chip cookies. But at no point does anybody ever have a chocolate chip cookie or a homemade one or a cinnamon roll and be like, you know what? I don't need to have any more cinnamon rolls. I don't need to have any more chocolate chip cookies. Them oatmeal raisins, I'm good for life. No, that's what this formula is. Supercharged Hemi V8 jailbreak version, just a monster of an SUV, and just a smile. Like, the reason why it's so fun, and why people talk about this vehicle or the Hellcats in general or Scat Packs, is because they're just fun. Like, you get into them, you stomp on the gas, you smile, your passengers are like, this is crazy. It's shifting gears fast, it's sounding good. It's just a great time, even if it's wrapped inside of a formula or a wrapper that is very familiar. And what's wrong with being familiar? I mean, you know Cinnabon in the mall, you know Auntie Anne's. You smell them pretzels, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna get some. It's the same thing, something that is familiar, that is warm, it's comforting. The supercharged V8 is a comforting time in there, okay? So it was nice to play with the track mode, the launch modes, things like that. And now I am getting a Durango for like a longer term test in December, or maybe like November, December time. I don't know what version it is. If it's a Hellcat one, we're about to have a ball. But even if it's not, the other thing that I'm most excited about is that I've made it to the point of getting a press vehicle and review car. And that's what, to me, that's my whole goal, right? I go to these events to meet people, shake hands, and just keep showing off and saying, hey, I would definitely like to introduce myself, show you my channel, kind of get more into the mix, get my foot further and further into the door. And it's going to happen, you trust me on that. So I drove the Hellcat. What else did I drive? I'm trying to go down this list so I can remember what I drove, because a lot was happening. I drove the Tundra TRD Rally. Now, the TRD Rally was interesting because it's like an interesting spec. It's not a Tundra Pro, but think of it like a TRD off-road package, just a little bit more. And it has the cool little accents like the TRD, like the Toyota Heritage symbols, like the red, orange, and yellow. It had like those symbols and that graphic inside of the seats. A nice off-road package, had terrain modes, multi-terrain mode, camera modes, nice technology, and it was capable. I took it on the trail. I'm like, this thing can handle what it needs to handle. It has hill descent. It has multi-view of things that you're doing when you're on the camera to look around the terrain around you, and it still drove well on the road, because one of the nice things I was doing was I would take it to the off-road course and then take it to the on-road, because sometimes you want to find out if a truck is really good on the off-road, but how was it on the on-road? Like, can it do both? Because that's honestly what this is about. It's about vehicles that have multi-disciplines, right? Not just off-road capabilities. And it shined on every single one of those. And it was a crew cab one, like the super crew cab, like in the back seat is huge. I mean, you could fit everybody back there. So the TRD Tundra Rally was nice to drive. I also drove the Volkswagen Tiguan, which was a surprise because that was compared to like the Acura ADX. And when I got into that vehicle and the luxury it had and the way the dashboard layout was, even though, like I critique, big screens on the dashboard, it is what it is, but it still was integrated a little bit better than I've seen with most that have that type of element into them. But the wood trim, the leather, the tech, the feeling, it felt like a higher end, like a true like German luxury like SUV in that compact form, and it was priced lower than the ADX, which is what made it so surprising. Because I looked on the outside, I prefer kind of the styling more than ADX. Had the R line with the black trim on the outside, the nice wheels, nice interior colors, panoramic sunroof, just all these things. I was like, man, this being under 45,000 was impressive for that segment. Also, I checked out the Jeep Cherokee Overland. Now, this was the brand new 2026 Jeep Cherokee Overland. And the reason why I was talking about it that we didn't drive is because this was like the first time it kind of was in the public, other than it being announced previously on the news and everything. So we got to see it for the first time. I like what they did here. Now, online and on the pictures, I kind of was looking at the Cherokee like, I mean, what's the point of this? What are they trying to do? I know we have the Grand Cherokee, but this has a proper build. It's a hybrid platform that they're doing. It gets very good mileage. It has proper off-roading capability, even up to 20 inches of going through water. It looks the part, nice squared off body. I like the wheels, especially in the Overland trim. It just looks really good. And they had a special blue one there when I was at the event that looked really good in that color. And I just knew that just looking at what they built, it's going to be a very good seller in that mid-size segment, because even though the competition is fierce, there are elements of what Jeep does that is unique to them and people that resonate with them. And I think that'll do well for them as well. Continuing on, I also drove the 2026 Kia Sportage Hybrid SX Prestige all-wheel drive. That name, man. But I will say this. Kia, not Kia. Oh no, it's Kia. Duh. I don't know what I'm saying. Kia has consistently improved upon their formulas. And that's what I experienced when I was in this vehicle for just, a brief amount of time. But even then, just from the dashboard layout, the nice curved screen for the digital display, the features it has, the technology, the luxury, what they're giving you for that price point, all packed into their almost highest trend. The Prestige is the top with the all-wheel drive. I mean, in the 40s, which is like, if you're looking at what that offers, and you start looking at other competitors, you're looking at the ADH, looking at the Tiguan, it becomes really hard to ignore how much Kia's putting into it. And the styling, I do like how it looks on the front of it. I probably prefer maybe more of the Volkswagen Tiguan because it's kind of a cleaner look. This one, though, does match what Kia has been designing and putting forward. It's not an aggressive look, but it's very, I would say, more forward thinking as far as the design goes. As far as the headlights look, it is very clean, and the color scheme they had on it was very nice as well. That was also at this event. Also, besides the Prestige, I also drove the Palisade XRT Pro. Now, I already drove the Palisade because I did a review on that for the calligraphy right here, if you haven't seen it. And this one was basically not as many features or luxury features as the calligraphy. That's the top of the pile. But like right in between, whatever, the lower trim to the calligraphy, but giving you more of that aesthetic of the off overland look and just off-road capability of being able to get onto trails, get onto different rougher roads, different terrains, and then offering you all the same things that the Palisade is known for, wrapped into a package that is geared towards those that like that overland aesthetic, that want to do things on the trail, maybe go camping, take things, need higher ground clearance. So it's a smart package because you already have a solid base. Now we're just going to add in a feature set for those that it resonates with. Then I also drove the Ram 1500 RHO, which is what a great time. I actually drove that on like a little rally course because, Hurricane, high output, twin turbo V6, over 500 horsepower. I mean, you put that in gravel mode, you just stomp on the gas, back in, stepping out around the corners. You be able to like counter steer, almost basically drifting through the little rally stage. I was having a blast. You going over little jumps because it can handle little jumps. It has the right suspension. It has giant tires. And all the while inside, I'm surrounded by a comfortable large seats, large front area, leather covered, Alcantara, soft touch materials here, big giant screen in the center, all the technology, different track modes that you can do for the truck, all the while sounding good. Because I mean, sometimes you think about the TRX as a V8, you're like, can the Hurricane, can the inline six one sound as good? It sounds as good, okay? They put a Magnum Flow exhaust on it. It sounds proper, okay? So I was busy driving that, had a great time in that. And what else? Did I miss everything? I might have told you everything I drove because that was, let me go through my list again. Acura, Rango, this, drove the Lexus. The Mitsubishi Outlander Trail Edition. I like the Outlander, and I've talked about it on my podcast. Is like, hey, I know Mitsubishi ain't. Most people don't even think about Mitsubishi when it comes to like cars they can buy or an SUV. But the Outlander has been offering some of the most value in a package with one of the best warranties in the entire industry, and something that will not look like the next person towards the stoplight that's in also was in a Forerunner, okay, or also was in a Highlander, okay, because we know those are very popular for a reason. Not as bad things. They do a good product. That's why they're popular. But I had a time to drive the Outlander with a gentleman from Mitsubishi who explained in detail their all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive modes that were truly different modes, unlike some other manufacturers where the terrain modes may just be kind of more of a simple computer thing. This was a mechanical and computer aspect of how it was delivering the power, where it was putting it. We put it on an off-road course. Now we kind of started off on the more aggressive off-road course and quickly realized we can't go this hard in the paint. And so, but then it still kind of showcased what the SUV was capable of. And it was like a learning experience for me because while I was in there, you have to kind of wrap your brain around off-roading. I don't do off-roading, so I don't know anything about it. This is kind of the first time me being introduced to the idea of like, if you're going over, I forgot what they called them in this course, but if you're going over courses that kind of move the truck side to side and put a tire in the air, when you're stepping on the gas, the computer is spinning a tire, but it has to keep doing that in order to realize, oh, we need to transfer the power. And when it happens, it's like this shift of the torque in the vehicle and moves you forward. But your brain normally says when you're spinning, you let off the gas, but you have to kind of keep your foot there, like level. So it's a skill set because you have to hold your foot at the pedal where it needs to be. So the gentleman from Mitsubishi, he was guiding me on this, saying like, no, hold your foot on the gas, keep holding it there, watch what the vehicle does, watch what the truck does. It's going to start rotating, and it was cool to kind of see the understanding of here's what the computer's doing, here's what your mind is trying to tell you to do, but actually this is what the proper process is. So it was fun, good time. So the Outlander, I think that's all of it. Yeah, the Pro 4X, I drove oh, the Tacoma Trail Hunter. I also drove that. So I have driven a Forerunner at a previous event when we did the Auto Spring event. So I didn't want to jump into a Forerunner because you got to, like I said, you got to bid your time with what vehicle matters the most. But I hadn't been in a Tacoma, and while I was going to jump into the TRD Pro, I really just wanted to try out the Trail Hunter because it looks cool. Has a snorkel intake at the top, and you can hear the turbo spooling because it had the IMAX, had the iForce Max motor in there. It also had the ARB like rear half cage hatch in the back of the bed, so very off-road look and extremely capable. Like this was not, it was hunting trails. Okay, that Trail Hunter name, it hunts them trails. Because the course I went on with the other vehicles, I took that one on it, and it was like smoke through that. It was like, please, what's next? Now the only caveat I had with the Tacoma is that even in this crew cab form, the rear space is extremely limited with somebody my size at over 6 feet tall. It's extremely limited, and I don't know if that's just the nature of being very tall and trying to get into these vehicles, or if it's fine for people that are like under 5'10". But if you're 6'3" like me, like the back seat was useless. Honestly, it was small enough that even for my kids, it wasn't enough. Which it just did. I don't know. It threw me off because I have a GR Corolla that I drive, and if I put my seat in the position I have, my 11-year-old son can still fit behind me. Now I'm not saying he's in the most space possible, but he still can fit. But this was like he couldn't even fit in this, and it's a truck. I was just kind of confused and kind of thrown off by that. I don't know. I know sometimes the numbers can be greater, but it might be like the seats are bigger, how they're positioned, just things like that. But overall, though, the Tacoma is an amazing platform. And even though some people in the growing pains of the new I-Force engine in that. When you drive it on the road though, you get into the power and the performance. I mean, it delivers. Like it feels comfortable on the trail. It feels equally as comfortable out on the road. So that was my time driving all these trucks. And one of the things I did notice, and I've spoken about it before, or at least I was talking to some people I was seeing again for, another event. And I was saying that right now, manufacturers know that the public or what is being shown is a lot of like off-road. I'm putting in quotes because some of it I feel is just more of like a package and a simple maybe raising of the ride height, a little bit of an all-terrain mode, or the same mode that was already in there, but maybe with like a more knobbier tire and wheel and tire package. But the trail off-road package on trucks and SUVs is a high seller, and everybody's doing it. There's XRT Pros, there's Trail Hunters, there's TRD Pros, there's whatever off-road package, the trail package, the Trail Hunter, the Overland. Everybody is throwing that in because obviously that segment of cars and trucks, not even cars, but more SUVs and trucks is huge. The Overland community, the off-roading side of it. I talked about that last year when I went to the SEMA show, and I was like, the Overland truck section was crazy. The amount of stuff they had, the tents, the accessories, and all the stuff you can do, it's a lot. So that market, that's why if you've been noticing trail sport Honda passports and things like that, is because that side of the market is very, very big and it's a good seller. And people just kind of want something that's like, I want an SUV, but give me kind of the rugged look. I kind of want to have something. Not to say that you're an outdoorsy type person or maybe that you're going to Big Bend or something like that. Maybe it's just the aesthetic that you want. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that it does play into that REI lifestyle, LL Bean. Like everybody isn't trying to be like a true off-roader, but people like that aesthetic and they like that feel and they like that world and they do like camping and hiking and taking road trips. And I think those type of trims work perfectly fine for that. And they work well. And almost to the point where I probably would get one in that trim just thinking about, oh, maybe here's some of the things I would like to do later. And it will have that capability. And also it looks the part and I like that aesthetic. So that was my time driving those cars. And we had a really, really great time. Now, I would love to have more time with the vehicles. I know these events can't really be that long. I actually did throw my hat into the becoming a part of the board on the Texas Auto Writers Association. So we'll see what happens because if it is, it's just me getting another push into this world and want to help out and keeping these events going and adding my spin to ideas and things of that nature that I want to do there. So hopefully something comes out of it, or just even if it doesn't, it's showing my desire to be a part of it. And there's more opportunity that's going to keep coming. So the event was fun. Like I said, I wish it could be a little bit longer, like maybe 2 days. Like maybe the first day you can kind of get a lot of B-roll and like maybe shoot some shorts and things like that, like reels. And then the next day, do more of a longer form or use both days to do that. I do wish that it could be like one more day because if you get one more day, I can get to the entire lineup of vehicles. Like you can really just kind of burn through all of them and get all the footage that you want. But still, I'm grateful to be invited, grateful to be able to register and be a part of it. And it's a great time. Like meeting the people, meeting the manufacturers, the OEMs, giving them my business card, trying to shake hands, meeting people. It's a really good time. Now, I do want to do a little bit better with meeting some of the people that are the OEMs there, but you kind of limited on time. So when you're driving the cars and stuff, I see them walking around. You want to introduce yourself and meet them, but you also are like, I got to get content. So I'm moving and shaking. It's a lot of work, but a lot of work that is a lot of fun. And I do now have to edit all those videos. If you haven't seen, I did put up one more video. I did put up one video recently of the Nissan Armada Nismo, because while we were there for that Texas Rodeo truck one, there was a media event for the Texas Auto Show at the Texas State Fair that I was able to go and see a little bit of the car show and did a little video on what they had there. Now, funny enough, I was so exhausted and busy that I missed a whole building that was there, and I knew it was there, but like I drove up there all the way from Houston up to Dallas early morning there at the press event for all the vehicles. And yeah, by the time I was done, it was like 1:30. I was like, listen, I'm done. Okay. Like it's time for me to wrap this up. So next time though, I am gonna probably try to go up maybe a day early. It's my first time going to this event and that media event. So I may go up a day early so that I have more time to kind of experience more of the Texas Auto Show and see more of those things there. I did run into somebody whose channel I've been watching for a long time. I ran into Rady's Rides. While I was up there, I looked up, he's over there recording a video. I said, went over there to say hi to him, gave him my card, and I asked him for a podcast episode for an interview. We're working on that, okay? Mr. Rady's Rides is going to be on here because I love his content. I had a little bit of a conversation there, a little bit of his backstory, and it was just cool to see because I always liked his style. I liked what he does. And I'm looking at somebody who I didn't even think, I'm like, why are you here in the Dallas? Like, don't, I'm thinking like he got a large channel, million plus subs. I'm like, shouldn't you be getting cars? You're out there doing something? But then it told me, I'm like, oh no, 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 that's not the right train of thought. He's working, hustling, making sure he gets all this content. And it told me, I was like, I have another level to move up to. Because I've been doing the local stuff here in Houston, Texas Auto Riders. But now I was like, you know what? I need to make my way to all the shows that are here in Texas. When the San Antonio Auto Show's there, I need to find out a way if they have a press media day, make my way over there. If they have a press media day for another show somewhere in Austin, I need to make my way over there. I need to do all of that. I need to make my way to back to the Chicago Auto Show. I haven't been there since I was a kid. I need to make my way to the New York Auto Show. I need to get the media passes for all these things and start making waves because it's an opportunity and I already love to do it. And so it just shows me there's even more to do. Even though I'm making very big accomplishments now, when I saw what he was doing and just talking with him, I was like, man, it tells me that there's still more to do, which is exciting because sometimes when you're working on something and kind of working that muscle, you kind of feel like I have to keep just doing the same thing. But then you realize, oh no, there's another exercise. And you're like, oh, I didn't even realize new results. So me traveling around to these shows and kind of reviewing and talking about the cars and getting more and more access is me also being presented to these manufacturers and these people saying, I'm here and I'm all around. So I'm not this year. Obviously, we're moving into 2026. So I do want to start formulating a plan because it costs money. So you got to kind of make a business plan and some idea of like how do we kind of formulate this so that I can move around to these areas and these events and kind of start getting this footage of me reviewing these cars and more things in conjunction with me doing the stuff for the GR Corolla because that ain't going nowhere. So I'm doing a lot. So a great time, a great blessing. Before I wrap this up, though, let's talk a little bit about some car news that I did read about. One was about Subaru. So, Subaru is actually changing all of their dealerships. Well, not all of them. They're offering dealerships an upgrade to what they look like to be more of like a lifestyle brand. This should have been done eons ago because just like I was talking about these little off road packages for SUVs and trucks, Subaru has been known to be an outdoorsy type of company like LL Beam, Yeti, Cups, and all of that world is Subaru. And so now I recently was reading an article on the drive about them basically doing a whole revamp of dealerships and a whole look that is like merch and Subaru merch and outdoor lifestyle and the vehicles all in different platforms and areas built into the dealership. Maybe one's sitting on like a fake rock, or this one's over there with a tent next to it. This one's over here next to a merch store. It makes perfect sense. Like, cause that is what they are. Now I do wonder how they're going to integrate like the WRX, which they could do well with like the rally street side. Like maybe they do a section where it's like it's sitting on like a street, maybe one's sitting on like a dirt like rally course, and it's showing you here's high performance in off-road rally into the road, and then you got the outback, and then you got the ascent over there. It makes perfect sense that they would be doing this. Now they didn't say how many dealerships. They said that a total of 90 retailers put a deposit down when they showed this off because one thing to know was that while Subaru might have this idea that the dealership has to pay for it. And honestly, with the way dealerships are when it comes to the price point of things, I can see that they do not want to necessarily pay that much. But with the EV tariffs going away, the cost of these vehicles, especially some of their new electric vehicles coming out, like they have, I think they have one called the Trailblazer, but they also have a new Sotera. They have other EVs coming in. And without those incentives, they are going to have to figure out a way to kind of bring in some more revenue so they don't have to do a price hike that scares away people that want to buy the vehicle. Doing this with like a merch style store, a lifestyle store, to a dealership makes perfect sense because it's also not just a place where you only can buy a car. You build it in a way where it's like almost a sporting goods type store, lifestyle where people could come in there for events, for things, for reveals of vehicles, to even buy stuff. You get a revenue stream that you didn't even expect. Throw in some coffee, some snacks, some food that relates to that type of lifestyle. You got more money coming in, and people are visiting the dealership consistently, even if it comes for service, because now they're like, I want to go there, kind of hang out. It's a cool spot, can work on my stuff, work on my computer, do things I need to do, but still be in a cool little setting. Smart idea. Also, speaking about other news there, besides the Subaru dealership, Lexus, and I'm surprised, Lexus has discontinued the LS. I'm stunned because, well, unfortunately, what it leads me to think is that we are now going to lean heavier into SUVs and less into sedans. Now, they did make a new ES. I talked about that many months ago. I haven't seen it here, and I don't even know. Kind of feel like if it's coming to the US, but we talked about that one, how it was a design, which was, I wasn't so much a fan of it. But the current LS is like one of the best luxury cars you can absolutely get. Rock solid. If you think about the LS from the 90s, when Lexus' first vehicle is a statement to reliability, longevity, resilience, understated luxury, like the original LS 400 is a historic car of how reliable it was, overbuilt to the T. And that was their first car. Like that was their first, hey, here's our first idea. And it's a knockout. And to this day, like if I had just extra money laying around, I would most certainly build an LS400 VIP style car, or even just get an LS400 just ride around in it. I've looked at the auctions they have in Japan for what they call Toyota Celica there. We had the LS400 at that time here in America. I mean, there's some ones that are like low miles with the cool like cloth interior because it was like a luxury, but luxury cloth. I know that doesn't make any it might not sound like it makes any sense because we're thinking leather, but I'm telling you, like there's some out there with like 40,000 miles, and I'm like, that can go for another 900,000 without a problem. Okay. That's how good that car was. Called the Heritage Edition. Similar to like what they did for the Land Cruiser. My brother-in-law has the Land Cruiser Heritage Edition. This is the LS Heritage Edition. I don't know how many they're making, but they did say only 250 models were sold in the UX of all 2026 models of the LS. So part of that is going to be sales, or they're like, listen, we're not even making that many sales. But I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's just like the LS was like something. If you knew what the LS was doing, you would have gotten that over the new 7 Series, or you would have gotten that over the S Class. Like the LS is that understated luxury that just runs and gives you no problems. It's just very, very refined. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but if you know about the LS, it's just one of those things that is just really, really good of a car. So there's no more LS. Like I said, they're making the last run of them, the Heritage Edition. I don't know how many they're gonna offer here, but they have like this nice red interior. I mean, if you look at the front dashboard, everybody's gonna be like, man, that looks really good. Much better than some of the other manufacturers that are doing kind of all these gigantic screens across everything. So it's gonna be sad to kind of miss it. I wonder if they're gonna make another version. I feel like Lexus needs a sedan and a luxury sedan. It can't just be all SUVs, even though I know that's where maybe some of the money's coming from, where all these manufacturers are getting. But it would be a miss for them to only have SUVs and not have any, sedans that are like a luxury sedan. Another article I was reading too. This is kind of funny. So Ford was talking about, I guess they're trying to, let's say, lock down their ECUs even more. So the CEO of Ford, he had this statement. He said the aftermarket is a real opportunity, but it's also a big challenge for us because a lot of people like to write software in the control module that controls the powertrain to get better performance. But what they don't know, and what the user may not be aware of, is that all the reliability and quality issues that might come up are very expensive. He went on further to explain, so it gets funny. My daughter's boyfriend is one of these people. He bought a brand new F-150 He's got a supercharger on it. He recently got a bunch of error codes because he updated the ECU against Ford standards and now needs thousands of dollars of expensive repairs because the vehicle has started chewing his camshaft. It was great that he could get 650 horsepower out of his EcoBoost F-150. He didn't think about what it was doing to the reliability of the vehicle, but we have to at Ford. Yo. First of all, the Ford CEO didn't have to throw his daughter's boyfriend at the bus like that. Had this man sounded like he didn't know what he was doing, which he may not have known what he was doing, but he may also have just been a part of the aftermarket that goes to find out how far the limits are. 650 horsepower in the EcoBoost F-150, he was cooking. Like he was doing some major work. So I see what he's trying to say. He's speaking to the manufacturer side. Like we have to make sure the car is reliable and we have to make sure the ECU is controlled with and just make sure it remains the same quality. But I also think they miss the fact that anybody that's doing this understands that it comes with its own set of pros and cons. Like you can't start dyno tuning vehicles and not realizing like, hey, there is a risk factor involved here if you do not know what you're doing. There is a risk factor involved here if you're trying to push to the upper reaches of the performance envelope. That's been the case of the aftermarket since forever. Which is funny that he's saying that as a CEO, because I'm like, you do know that like there's plenty of people that have videos of blowing up Mustangs on dynos because they're trying to push to the upper limits of tuning the ECU. F-150s are no different. There's plenty of them that drag race that they have blown motors and done all this. That's testing the upper limits. I don't think it means that people don't know what they're doing necessarily. I think you have to understand that they're willing to take the risk. So your daughter's boyfriend, he was willing to take the risk. He's like, listen, I'm gonna take the risk. Yeah, I'm chewing up camshafts and whatever else was going on, but I wanted 650 horsepower. I wanted to know what it was like to get that much wheel horsepower, and I was willing to take the risk. I don't think it should mean that you should try to lock down the ECUs any further to hinder people from doing this. I think you should just acknowledge that, hey, if you go in there and try to do something that we can recognize in our computer that you tampered with and now blew up a vehicle, well, then you're on the hook for a new engine. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, but that is what everybody has known that gets into that world and really tries to dive in and find out what the upper limits of these motors are. That's nothing new. So I know what he was trying to say. He's like, we were trying to solve a tough problem. He said you want to give the customers a chance to tune the vehicles, but they actually don't know about, but they want to know about the reliability. And it just seems like he hasn't really talked to that many tuners and people in that community, which they exist. For performance and modifying these trucks and these Raptors and all this and the Mustangs is not unknown. I just think this should be more of a conversation with the people that like SEMA and the big proper tuners and companies that are making performance parts to have a conversation and sit down and say, hey, this is what we're doing. And this is what it means to the customer. And this is what we tell the customer when they come in here wanting certain things. It was just a funny story that he tossed his daughter's boyfriend at the bus. Like he was like, listen, he didn't know what he was doing. And here I am on the stage trying to save my company and make money. He's over here blowing F-150s. It's funny. Now, speaking about Ford, continuing on, they did talk about the fact that the last Ford ST has come off the assembly line. It's which is obviously for the European market, we don't make the ST anymore. But I mean, it's also kind of unfortunate because Ford, I really feel like they should have continued to make another RS, another ST. I mean, the hot hatch wave is still going strong. But like I said, Toyota's like one of the last standing manufacturers that has actually decided to make these type of vehicles. And Ford has a history of the Ford Cosworth RS, the ST. They should continue this going. There should be another iteration of it. But obviously, as we know, many years ago, they said we're not doing any more cars except the Mustang. We're doing SUVs and trucks. And that's what we're doing right now. So the Ford Focus and the STs and all that is not going to be around anymore. So the last one fell off the assembly line, 276 horsepower, front wheel drive, fourth gen car. I always liked how the European ones look. We never got this look here, but just another fun hot hatch that's inexpensive, no longer being available, which means that my GR Corolla is never going anywhere. Okay. Now, speaking about the GR Corolla, we got some GR Corolla updates before I get up out of here. We have another part. We actually have a part from a company. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I'm going to show you the box. If you look at the video, DC Sports. We have a part. We have a part from DC Sports that is going on the vehicle. this weekend, maybe during this week. I actually spoken to the gentleman that runs that company because he sent me an email like that, I get the part and everything. I told him I'm trying to install it this week because I'm working. And that's another thing. Like some of this stuff happens in like videos, editing, and putting on parts. I love it, but it is work. Okay, it ain't easy. So I have a new part for that. I am hopefully working with a company where I installed a recent video of a wing from a company called Epsilon. I do on my friend Chris's GR Corolla. I want to run their entire lip kit. So I'm trying to discuss with them like, content, sponsorship type things. It's I'm constantly wanting to show my effort and then ask for something. Show my effort, ask for something. Like when I go to the SEMA show this year, like I said, I'm coming with a cool little pitch to some of these other companies I'm going to work with and continue on with the GR Corolla, content and just building out of things. So that is coming this week, along with the other videos from my recording of car reviews. I have a lot. I still have to do one for the Elantra, and I have recorded. I have one for the Honda Civic Touring. And then I want to once I'm done with all these recent videos, I'm then going to reach out again to some local dealerships. I want to go to Volkswagen because I want to drive the ID Buzz, the little electric minivan type thing. Looks like the old school Volkswagen bus. And just Subaru in general, like maybe get the WRS compared to the GR Corolla, drive one of those, make my way over to Mitsubishi because I do want to spend a little bit more time with the Outlander again, go over to Kia. So I'm going to make my way around those dealerships. And obviously, because my schedule has changed recently because of change of jobs and things like that, I'm probably going to have to convince them or say, hey, let me just take one on like a weekend, even though it's busy, just give me one and I'm going to go off and do my thing and I'm going to come back. Usually I try and do it during the middle of the week because that's a little bit better for scheduling and for time. So maybe I can squeeze some in. I will. If not, then I'll try to stick to just doing it on the weekend and just doing one at a time. But other than that, the podcast is going well. More and more people are finding. I looked at my analytics the other day was on Apple Podcasts because I never check it. And I didn't even realize I had that many followers. I'll be honest. I did not know I had that many people following me on Apple Podcasts for this podcast. So I was like, hey, I don't look at the numbers because I'm gonna do this regardless. You don't have to listen to me at all. But guess what? One day you'll find me and be like, this guy did hundreds of episodes and I'm just finding out about it. And that's the joy of kind of doing this stuff and having people naturally discover you. But if you have been listening and you do know somebody that wants another podcast to listen to on their commute home or commute to work and they like cars and like talking about this industry, let them know about the CarQuicks podcast. Let them know that your boy Cameron Biggs has been holding you down and let them know where to find me. Okay? So until then, as I say, do as you wish and do as you may. I will be back next week for another episode of the CarQuicks podcast. I'm glad you joined me. As I say all the time, like and subscribe to me, follow me, just follow the journey. It's going to be fun and we're doing more and more things. So until then, I'm going to see y'all around. Peace.